Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. You guys know the drill. If you guys are new here, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 3K. Big up our partners, manscaped.com. Go check them out. LBI20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. You guys know, well known, pioneers of below the waist grooming for men. But yeah, man, it's not just that with Manscaped. They have a huge catalog of products ranging from beard waxes, loungewear, trimmers, you name it. Probably, Manscaped has it. Same applies with Fanatics, the biggest apparel collection. Jersey collection, they have even retro kits, signed stuff, autographed stuff by former players, current players. I've seen stuff by stuff from Rodrigo, his iconic 21-22 season. We all know the City winner, basically equalizer, basically. But City hero, yeah. Yeah, man. Fanatics has an interesting collection. Go check them out. Use the link in the description below so that they know that you guys came through us. With them, it's slightly different. We don't have a unique code, but they have site-wide offers, that ranges from free shipping or, 25% off, somewhere around that. Basically, every week it keeps shifting. So go check them out. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. Official partners of La Liga and Real Madrid as well. So yeah, a bit of the housekeeping out of the way. Villarreal, yeah. We also how the last match against them ended at the tail end of last season. Sorloth, giving us a run out. 4 goals from him. It was an entertaining game. It wasn't quite there for today, although I heard the commentators mention they have a notorious streak against us, basically picking up points every season from 2010-11 onwards, I think. So they were in opposition that they were always going to be up for it. They were going to give us a tough game, and moreover, with the fact that they are third in La Liga, basically having a string of results that has been basically pointing towards somewhere that they have been punching above their weight under Marcelino, who is again a coach that doesn't really settle for second best from his team, and he looked visibly frustrated, especially after the first goal, because positives aside, when you're basically in Marcelino's position and he watches his team basically do a number on us and we take a fluke lead through Fede's goal, although the intention was right, but the deflection basically gave the keeper no chance. So stuff like that, he looked pissed, and I felt for him, because again, for me, I don't know about Mo and Sahel here. Sahel, before we got onto the pod, he was a bit more optimistic, but for me, again, every team eventually shows signs of improvement, especially a team the size of ours, with the ambition of ours, right? Every week I look forward to some sort of silver lining, especially in terms of performance, even if the results are, it's quite ironic coming from myself, because I was the results over football guy, but this season, unfortunately, football is so drab that even I can't really sit through what we are kind of putting on show week in, week out. And tonight was another example, bar a couple of individual performances, what was really there to really take anything away from this game. But yeah, that was my initial impressions. Big up my co-panel, Mo and Sahil, as always. Mo, talk to me, man. It's been a while that you've been staying away from the post-match. I reckon it's down to how shit the football that has been on display. Fortunately, unfortunately for us. But talk to me, man. Villarreal at home, 2-0 win. We should be happier than this, surely.
I don't know, man. Like I have a little different opinion than you for this game, at least. But before I get into that, I must I'm pretty happy to be here. I think we're doing a a post match after a long time. We're doing a podcast after a long time, because I haven't been able to make it due to some work commitments and stuff. So it's kind of great to see you back. There was a moment when you had I think you had the flu. I was thinking you had COVID and you would never come back. So glad to have you back for that. And so with that out of the way, I think I kind of agree with you on certain aspects because, I think throughout the season so far, our games have been pretty drab. They have been a difficult watch, and I kind of when we were doing the season preview, I told you, man, this is don't expect too much from this team going into the season. This is going to be especially at the beginning, there's going to be a transition. Having said that, I
should have hated the warning.
Yeah, I think having said that, today I kind of felt like we were much better, especially in the final, in our own defensive half, and getting the ball out of the midfield, out of the back with the midfield, because I think today the passing was pretty fast. There was some pace to it. I kind of like the fact that Ancelotti decided to do something different and went with Camavinga and Valverde as the two players at the base, and they were moving the ball pretty fast. They were getting the ball, receiving the ball, and then moving it faster into the front players. Previously, this was missing. So I kind of like this, and I hope they keep on doing that. I think
when you take Tchouaméni out of the midfield equation, it looks better, and when you take Mbappe out of the attacking equation, it looks better. I don't know how, but
I don't know about the Mbappe bit but for me personally, I kind of enjoyed the way our team was structured. Especially, I kind of felt like Jacob was saying this yesterday as well, that maybe having Tchouaméni in the centre back position, getting the ball out from the back line is going to be helpful. And I kind of felt that maybe that was also helping. But then even more than that, having Camavinga and Valverde play in the midfield, at the base was I think what worked definitely. So for me personally, I think I would rather stick with this going forward. I don't know how Ancelotti decides to put Tchouaméni if you're going with Camavinga and Valverde as your base. So that's going to be interesting. Having said that, I mean, going forward, I kind of do share your concerns because I felt like Vinicius was okay in the first half. Bellingham didn't like it very much. Modric sort of grew into the game, but I don't know what kind of performances you expect from him, especially if he's going to be playing that right hand side role. So, but Modric today, as the game went on, I think he kind of got better, and he got better. I think he was pretty brilliant.
Luka has been one of the players that I wouldn't really fell stones with this season.
No, I'm saying that for me at the beginning, it didn't really look like he was going, but towards the end of it, he was kind of brilliant. So he was one of the better players. Bellingham, I kind of felt like at the beginning in the first half, he was pretty bad, and
not really inspiring.
In the second half, I kind of saw him, try. Maybe he was more committed, but still the touch wasn't there. So that for me was kind of worrisome, because
he looked leggy. It's almost like he's playing, on half tank.
For me personally, at the beginning of the season, there were some rumors that he was going to be playing without the support for his shoulder, and I think recently he has had to bring it back because he was having trouble again. I think it was after a game. I forgot which team it was, but ever since then he's been playing with it. Maybe that's not really helping him because last season towards the end, in the second half, we didn't see the Bellingham of the first half. Maybe I don't know if it
restrict his movement sort of.
Yeah, it was maybe like Farouk said, purple patch or whatever. But then even his defense, his touch isn't there this season, so it kind of worries me because Jude Bellingham, when you looked at him and we were talking about raving about him even in the second half season when he was scoring the goals, we were talking about how good his touch was, how he was able to get out of tight situations and whatnot. But today I didn't see him. I mean, he wasn't even able to get the ball into Vinicius, when he was out wide, or even Mbappe when he's out wide. And then coming to the forward, Mbappe, I kind of don't like his movement as a central striker because I think he's too static, he's too stagnant, he's too he's too how do I put it? He's too defensive. He's averse to taking risks. So when we were talking about this, I think last year or whatever, whenever we talked about this, everybody was comparing him with Benzema, not on the panel but in the media. Everybody was kind of comparing him to Benzema and bringing out these scores and whatnot. He's more similar to Benzema. I kind of said it, Benzema is somebody who can do it in the box, he can do it outside the box, and he knows where to move and when to move. And I think with Mbappe, that clearly isn't there. He doesn't know where to drop, how to receive the ball, especially playing as a striker. And I think, not just in the central areas, even in the wide areas, he doesn't really combine well with what Vinicius seems to be doing. So for me, so far, it isn't working. Having said that, I kind of think, with time, perhaps this improves. Especially his understanding with Bellingham leaves a lot to be desired for me. For with Vinicius, there seems to be certain sort of like a wavelength, something, they kind of seem to feel each other out a little bit better. But with Bellingham, I don't see it, and I think sometimes.
But if you notice, Mo, I'm not sure if you guys agree with me, but I don't know if it's my special reservation for maybe undermining what Mbappe brings to the pitch. But when I see Mbappe laying off the ball to Vinicius, it's almost like you have to basically play it back.
So that was the point I was actually going to make, before.
Yeah,
Like that's what I was getting, because I've seen like Mbappe make a couple of passes when he drops. Like he kind of plays the ball in such a way that
so that Vinicius doesn't really have an incentive to basically be take the mantle, right?
For me, whenever I kind of see him lay off the ball to anybody, I kind of find like he's playing the ball such that he gets the ball in a dangerous area. So that kind of pissed me off. Like I noticed two events like today that were similar to that, when he played the ball into Vinicius when there was a break, such that I kind of felt like
when the keeper kind of comes up.
He could have released Vinicius faster if he had done that.
Faster, with a better ball, with a lot more velocity. Vinicius is through. He's through. He's breaking away.
Just let me finish, okay? So I think if he had played the ball into Vinicius faster, like you said, Vinicius, has a much better chance of going through one-on-one and probably taking the goalkeeper on. But like the way he played, I think gives a little time for Villarreal to adjust defensively. And although the counter-attack was at pace, and that was kind of what we were expecting from Real Madrid, like when we coming into the season with this lineup, with Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinicius. So it happened, but then they had adjusted and gave the goalkeeper some time to position himself better. Maybe if it had been Vinicius running at him earlier, I think Vinicius could have done a little bit better. Maybe not as much as maybe not lose the ball, and the goalkeeper doesn't have enough time to react. Having said that, there was another moment in the second half where he does the same thing on the right with, I think it was with Modric or whoever it was. I don't remember who it was, but that is something I've noticed for Mbappe, and I didn't like it. Overall, for Mbappe, I still don't want to be too harsh on him, because he's like he's still new. But having said that, I do agree with you guys. Like Mbappe, we expected more, and he hasn't delivered so far.
I wouldn't be so kind. Fuck that. But Sahil, man, this is your opportunity to come in. Basically, where do you want to start? I'm more interested in what Mo had to say about the midfield situation.
Yeah.
But I guess since we are on the Mbappe trail, let's pick it off where Mo left it. What do you see, man, when you see the game and Mbappe trying to basically get himself involved? Like, he looks like he is fed up. For me, he looks a figure beyond frustration. I don't think he's even at a stage where he's frustrated anymore. It's way beyond that, at a point where he is disassociating himself from the pressure, from the spotlight, and basically, in a way, taking a seat back and basically, demanding the team to play to his tunes. Because let's not get it twisted, right? Mbappe might be a better player than Vinicius overall, in what he has done throughout his career. He would have a better pedigree, some would say, right? But in this team, would you say he's numero uno? That should be Vinicius.
Yeah, and definitely there is this sort of expectation that these two like phenomenons of the game sort of coexist together, and that's all ideal in the head, in your head. And it's fantasy land. Like, the team has to be better adjusted to at least one of those players, or say play to one of their strengths more, and that has to be Vinicius, because he's been there longer. He's learned how to play the Real Madrid way, and I mean, obviously he did not come to Real Madrid like the star Mbappe was, but he grew up here basically as a footballer.
Yeah.
Mbappe's story is different, and there's different context to that. But overall, like, and I agree, Vinicius is way more well tuned to how Real Madrid want to play. And Mbappe, definitely the individual qualities are there, the bursts of speed, his finishing, obviously not the best this season, but otherwise we know how well of how good of a striker he can be. But it's just that he needs to adjust. He needs to compromise on certain facets of his game to be able to glue in. And do you think Jude Bellingham didn't do that? Like, did he not have to do that? Every player who comes to Madrid
Yeah,
has to do that. And
yeah,
Mbappe, I mean, we heard this on one of the fan cams. He's at a place where for the first time he's not bigger than the club, right?
mm, yeah,
So that need to adjust is always going to be there. But overall, like, I don't think I would put as much of my like time on that situation, because it's already pretty well documented. Everybody's basically speaking
mm,
about Mbappe's performance game after game.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and Vinicius, I thought today for one, even though overall his performance still left a lot to be desired,
hmm,
uh, the fact that he took the shot from outside the box and still scored. Like, the output, whenever the output is there with Vinicius, I'm still like, okay, I can be patient with this guy, because like that for me was his confidence going up there to a
yeah,
level that
yeah.
a Ballon d'Or level player is.
Mm, hmm.
That was a very good sign for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but the fact
And
that
that's the thing, right, Sahil? With Vinicius, like you can actually have some takeaways, even
Hmm,
when he has a bad night, right? Like he'll have flashes of brilliance where he
right.
takes the team on the shoulders. Yes, there are nights where nothing comes off. You know, we are very uh, vocal about them as well. But especially for tonight, Kike Femina, that's how you pronounce his name, right? The right back.
Kiko Femenia.
For their Feminia, yeah. So he really had a hard time dealing with Vinicius because he, completely was bamboozled, at least on a couple of occasions, and Vinicius just had his number. Even like if you notice, I think during the first 20, 30 minutes of the game, Vinicius barely had a touch,
Yeah.
but he never gave up. He's a guy who never gives up. But then you compare it with Mbappe, man, um, it leaves a lot to be desired. And Mbappe, like again, like Sahil, you got a very good point that you shouldn't really kind of, hone in on him too much. For me, it begs the question, really, like, why is he undroppable? Like, I get it, his status quo and, his price tag and whatnot, it demands him to start every game. But then you see him, just taking pot shots from angles where it has been closed down. How many times, Sahil and Mo? A million
Yeah,
times, billion
in
times this
offensive
season.
transition, basically at the start of the game, there was this one chance where there was, again, he did a couple of his trademark step over, step the other way, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
took a shot. I think it went straight to the keeper, but that's like far from the point. The point really stands glaring into our eyes. It's that he is not capable. Not capable. I mean, capable is the wrong word, but he's not quite there in terms of combining with these players. And even with Jude, I felt like a few games ago there was this chemistry that was doing well when
yeah.
he basically played a 1-2 with Jude, and then that game was overall good signs. But
Mm,
after that is also dipped because Jude again played a couple of games out like away from his best position. Uh, so yeah, I mean, like keeping this Mbappe, Vinicius, Jude thing aside, I feel like tonight uh, wasn't a night where we speak too much about the individuals. The emphasis tonight was on how the team played, and that to me was one where each player put in at least like a 7 out of 10. And except for Kamavinga, I don't think we can really talk about any of the standouts for me. Like, it was just one of those nights. It felt more than anything like the emphasis was more on like not repeating the mistakes we've been making past 2 3 games. The complacency and letting
yeah.
off. We get the lead and whatnot. Right? It was not on playing the perfect game or giving out the standout, giving out like standard performance where okay everything goes right. Even though the scoreline again will not raise concerns, and the headlines will be about Carvajal's injury, about Vinicius's injury, about the clean sheet and whatnot. It is not a perfect performance, but as far as the team is concerned, I'm one happy about the midfield, because the four-man midfield it felt like it had the right sort of balance because of Kamavinga. I felt like even though Bellingham in itself was quite disappointing because he was not
Yeah.
able to do much, he was able to operate centrally, and that's always his best position, right? It allowed him to be creative in a couple of like phases of play. Not much apart from that, but apart from Bellingham, there was Modric and Valverde. I felt like Camavinga's presence really allowed them to breathe and have the space. Like
Hmm.
it didn't put their position in a rigid sort of thing where
Kamavinga has this knack, right? Like when the team
exactly.
needs someone to bail them out in a sticky
Yeah.
situation, he
He
just,
makes life very easy for his teammates. That's the kind of teammate you would always,
yeah.
want to play, even a five-a-side,
When
seven
Chouameni
side.
more often than not goes for the jugular, basically a ball in behind, or plays very template passes, Kamavinga really opens up. I think defenses
He was tidying up
with his
everything in
passing.
behind
Yeah,
Modric and Valverde.
yeah.
Anything that got past these guys, Kamavinga was there. He was winning 50-50s, and just his mobility as a defensive midfielder
Mm.
is really impressive for someone who's just
Passing
come.
was a bit erratic though. A couple of times it
But still,
eventually
the
went out of
intent
play.
is
Yeah,
there. Like with Chouameni, I
hundred
see
percent,
a lot of sideways passes and backwards passes. With
hundred
Kamavinga,
percent.
I feel like okay, at least one of every three passes is going forward,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
trying to
hundred
break the
percent.
line, and that he might fail at that. He might not always succeed because again, teams are good at pressing.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I feel like these are good signs for Kamavinga, for someone who's been out for injury for the better part of the past 2 months. Uh, he helped Mendy a lot, especially. I noticed this, and
Even last game, right? Mendy
yeah,
was better this
shows up
game,
in
but
like a lot of
yeah,
unexpected pockets of space throughout the pitch.
mm, yeah.
That's something that, again, like I said, he's the ideal teammate to want to play with. So I feel like if he can keep up these performances, Chouameni's position in the team is no longer uh,
Guaranteed.
certain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I want to bring more in on. See, this question has always been raised, at least for the past couple of weeks. Although Chouameni has shown slight improvements in his overall level since the start of the season, more people have been a bit disappointed, and I've been pretty keen on pointing out that despite the fact that the stat still remains that we haven't lost with Chouameni, his overall game, especially in midfield, leaves a lot to be desired. And Kamavinga, ever since he has come back from injury, has given this team a much needed spark down the middle. So, like what Sahil says, is his position in jeopardy, Mo, in your opinion, or
Uh,
do you think that Modric will be completely, shoved aside?
uh, that's a tough question. I don't exactly know what Ancelotti is gonna do, so I cannot answer. About like is Chouameni's position in jeopardy. I'll say this, that I think Ancelotti relies a lot on Chouameni's ability to shield the defense. So I think when you consider that, it might not be in as much jeopardy as we're thinking right now.
Hmm.
But like whenever we discuss Kamavinga, we've always said this, that Kamavinga is pretty good when he's playing passes from the deep, and today it was kind of like on evidence. Every time like he was able to position himself to receive the balls in proper areas, and be a release wall, like a pressure relieving wall, always trying to pass the ball forward and make spaces. And once you have that ability, once you have that pass coming out fast from the back, it leaves
Yeah,
players open. When you compare to the previous games, what happened was like we were so pensive in getting the ball out. Like it would always be stuck with Rudiger, and Rudiger would try and play it into Militao, or Militao would play it back to Rudiger. And by the time we were like doing this nonsense, the opposition would recover, and they would just know how to position themselves to snuff out anything that we could create. Today, because of Camavinga, I kind of felt like we were so much faster in getting the ball out. I think Ancelotti has also said this multiple times in his press conference, that we need to get the ball out faster. So today, for me, that happened. So I think today kind of laid a template. Now, where does Chouameni go from here? I'm not exactly sure, because with Militao, he keeps on getting injured recently, and I kind of I'm not surprised, because he's coming back from a long-term injury in ACL.
yeah,
So when
yeah.
that happens, you kind of the dynamics change, and you kind of seem to have injuries after that. So it's not surprising. That could be a potential opportunity for Chouameni to maybe cement a position. Maybe he starts playing deeper, and gives us a little bit of a ball playing ability from the back, and that could be helpful. You don't really want Rudiger to be the one doing all the ball playing duties as a center back, because Rudiger, for all his for all his good points, I don't think he's a ball playing center back. So maybe that is somewhere Chouameni goes. Maybe Chouameni could play alongside Camavinga, something that I don't
Yeah.
know, that might help France as well.
Yeah,
But
he could definitely.
yeah, I
Because
think
Modric's position in the team is not 100% guaranteed, right? Game after game.
yeah, but I think it's just there's going to be a lot of rotation, so everybody's
Yeah.
going to get an opportunity to kind of make a case for themselves. But having said that, I totally agree with you, and I kind of repeated this like I said this in the preview as well yesterday that Chouameni has been like we haven't seen what we expected from Chouameni this season, especially with Cruz gone. I mean, with a lot of players, we haven't seen that, but especially it's even more disappointing for Chouameni because Chouameni was somebody we kind of hoped that he would help and slowly grow into the role of what Toni Kroos used to do. He could probably get the ball out faster and everything. And whatever good games we've had this season, it's been like when Chouameni has been performing well, but whenever he doesn't, Real Madrid tend to struggle. So for today, Camavinga kind of showed us an alternative, and I think when Camavinga was injured, we were kind of we were kind of like we were done with pretty much everybody, and Camavinga is kind of like the last hope to see what happens. So I mean, so far I didn't get to watch the game against Lille, so I can't really talk much about the his performance there. But today, Camavinga was encouraging. Hopefully that carries on. But then, having said that, I think Ashik left a comment that kind of made me smile a little bit. I'm just gonna bring it up if you'll allow me. So now, like he was saying that we were a bit better than the midweek, and that's with Cruz in the stands. Imagine with him on the pitch. So maybe it was just Cruz having Cruz in the stands.
Give him the season ticket, man.
It was just like
I'm sure he has one. Like if he can't make it to every game, at least have his children there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Like, with Cruz, maybe in the stands, everybody suddenly started feeling less pressure and starting playing better.
Yeah.
But like having said that, I think it's like I totally agree with you guys.
A lot
Chouameni
to
needs to do
Valverde.
better. Yeah, and I think Valverde also deserves a lot of credit because the way he kind of played in the midfield.
I'm tired of praising this guy, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I think like I've always kind of considered him to be somebody who's like an Indian who runs up and down and carries the ball. But today I think he was like he showed a lot of passing rate, especially in the first half. So I was kind of impressed with him. Having said all of this, the thing is like we kind of were pretty bad in the final third from the midfield, especially because I don't know
My goodness.
Bellingham. Like I don't know what he was doing in the first half, especially like. Yeah,
Shocking. He's been like this
we won like
for a bit.
we won the game, but it's like those two goals were out of nothing. It wasn't something that we created. So
Solo displays.
yeah,
Basically.
solo display. So we have to improve a lot, especially in the final third. From the midfield and the attack. So both those areas still left, like leave a lot to wanting.
But why does it look so rigid, though, Mo? This is my question, right? Like last season, right? Like we played with the placeholder system where Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Mbappe took turns to be a focal point, and they somehow did the magic, right?
I think last season you mean Bellingham, not Mbappe.
Bellingham.
Sorry, Bellingham.
Yeah.
But still, everything seemed to fall in place, right?
I think.
Although,
I think it just goes back to what I said earlier. Like Mbappe, I've seen him like be a lot defensive. He's like he doesn't seem to be taking a lot of chances with his positioning, and what he does is like either he goes too far ahead and he stays central, or he drops back and he stays too deep. So that kind of I don't.
Do you think he doesn't trust his teammates enough?
No, I don't think
in situations.
I think he doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust himself to play that role. For me, that's the biggest issue. Whenever Mbappe drops back, nobody's going into the box, and he's like, there's like 6 people standing in the penalty box without anybody to mark, and Mbappe is like deeper. I don't know doing what. So for me.
That off the ball thing, Mo, that you mentioned before. Sorry for cutting you off, but it's just something that clicks right now that you mentioned this. Comparing him to Benzema as a no-brainer, like you can't do it, bro, because he's not the player. He's not even half the player that Benzema was, because you
don't even have to be an Mbappe, Sahil. Be Joselu. Just create some havoc inside the box.
Yeah, I agree, but he's not.
He just stands there.
That player, bro. He's never going to be that player.
You have to basically play to what the system.
He's going to want to be put in a position where his pace and his shooting accuracy comes into play, and not his heading ability, and not his his link up play. But yeah, like I was saying, his inability, like Benzema's ability to take away defenders from the central position. Mbappe's inability to take defenders away or pull them away from where the action is kind of concerns me, because if he's playing as the lone striker, which he is for most part of our games, I don't see him be active without the ball. He's very passive like that.
I think for Mbappe, the thing we have to remember is the fact that he hasn't had the development that Benzema did. When Benzema was starting,
Yeah.
like when he kind of broke out at Lyon, he was he was a striker playing out wide as a left winger, and he didn't really have that pace to beat players one on one with the dribble. So what he would do is like he would combine a lot with whoever was playing striker, and he developed that knack to combine with anyone. And like I mean, Benzema is like one of the most intelligent players that I've ever seen play football, and he knows how to position himself. He knows how to combine. So like even when Vinicius and Rodrigo were like kind of like young, how do I put it, young puppies or whatever, he knew how to get the best out of them. And with Mbappe, the thing is like he for whatever reason he chose to stay in France, he kind of stunted his development. And when Benzema was like 21, he kind of moved out and came to La Liga, and he struggled for the first season, but still he kind of grew into it with time. Maybe working with Zidane or whatever helped him. It helped him, and he kind of grew into the player that we saw for most of his tenure at Real Madrid. For Mbappe, that isn't there, and what Mbappe is like, he needs somebody to play off of. He needs a striker. I mean, there was this huge fuss about like pivot gang or whatever. So for me, when Mbappe is playing, you kind of see that he doesn't really have the combination down. He doesn't really have a combination down to play as a striker. And you kind of made a brilliant point that center backs do not follow Mbappe, and there's a reason for that, because they know even if Mbappe is going deep, nothing's going to happen. Like he can go on as long as even if he comes with pace, they can outnumber him. As long as they're like 4 or 5 players, what is Mbappe going to do? Nothing. And like whenever he's received the ball, he's tried to do something, dribble past him. Someone or somebody has always, maybe the goalkeeper gets a foot in, or a defender gets a foot in and stops the ball, and something happens and blocks him. So the thing is like, with Benzema, he knew how to combine with, let's say, Vinicius. Those combinations were there, those movements were there. So those combinations moved players around. It wasn't necessarily just Benzema dropping deep. So while Mbappe is dropping deep, that combination isn't there. So it's not just not moving players around. So for me, I think to get the best out of Mbappe, there has to be somebody who's playing centrally. When we, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were sort of like, thinking about how Mbappe is going to fit in, we kind of mentioned this, that maybe Rodrigo is the one who should be playing centrally and Mbappe comes off to the right. So I think that is something Ancelotti should be trying, because Rodrigo is somebody who kind of played with Benzema, and Rodrigo I think is much better combination wise compared to what Mbappe does. So centrally, I think Rodrigo might be better. Yeah, definitely. That's the point. He's the best we have. Yeah, when it comes to combining. So for me, I don't know how this Mbappe situation goes. Either goes 2 ways. Mbappe either learns how to combine with others, grows. Hopefully he does that, because I think he has a lot of innate technical quality. But if that does not happen, then I think Ancelotti kind of has to look for alternate solutions like he did with the midfield today.
But what you're saying essentially is that Rodrigo can possibly be that Benzema kind of figure who brings others into the game, right?
Yeah. Let's not get carried away. I'm his biggest fan. He won't succeed at centre forward. We have tried this experiment way too many times.
I think with Rodrigo, what we saw was like in the 22-23 season, when Benzema was injured a lot, Rodrigo used to play centrally, and his combination was much better than whatever.
Combinations are better, but it's not his best position. But
I mean, say this thing. If you want to talk about best position,
his best position is on the left.
He's not playing at his best.
Much more effective for me down the right. At least he gives the team.
The thing is, like, if he's down the right, he's kind of taking players on and trying to beat players with his dribbling and pace. But that's just one thing. With Mbappe, if you kind of push Mbappe to the right and let him develop there, he's probably going to bring that as well. Whereas Rodrigo, he can combine a lot better with whoever is in the midfield, whoever's in the left. Even he can drift to the right, and when he can come centrally. So these guys, they have the defense, the combinations. When you do that, you are much more successful moving players around. And if you remember, like last season, I kind of sent you a clip of Brazil, with Rodrigo playing centrally, and we kind of discussed about this, how he was doing pretty well, but sadly we weren't going to see that from Madrid because of how Bellingham was positioned and everything. But right now, whenever Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Mbappe are playing together, like it's like we're playing with the front three, so there is scope for doing that. And I kind of think like Ancelotti always keeps on saying that Rodrigo is much better centrally and whatnot. He can play as a can. So come on, let's just try him there and see how it goes. Try pushing Mbappe out wide, and let's see if that improves anything.
Might be worth the shot, but I'll be very honest. Yeah, like let's take about the Rodrigo playing centre forward out of the equation for a moment. I know that's the most realistic probability this season. But say we bought someone like Haaland next season, or a couple of years down the line, someone of that ilk, someone who is a bit more prolific.
Or say Endrick develops. Say Endrick develops into
I don't think ever Endrick will develop. I don't think he'll ever develop into a guy like Haaland who can, be an out-and-out centre forward. I think he can play off one or play, down the wing or as an SS or as a pseudo 10, but not completely as a center forward. I don't see him with especially what physicality demands. Probably I might be wrong. He can develop.
I disagree.
Probably.
Okay. Okay, make your point.
But yeah, my point is that even if Haaland was in the equation, right? I would prefer Vinicius and Rodrigo as my wingers, aiding Haaland.
If you have a player like Haaland, I think you'll automatically see a lot better performances from Mbappe.
Competing.
Well, let's wait and watch. How this unfolds.
I mean, the thing is, like,
every week
we don't know if Haaland is gonna come to Real Madrid. So, and if Haaland comes, I'm not sure Rodrigo is gonna be here. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm just stating a hypothetical situation. But for me, Mbappe really looks like probably it's his ego, like we mentioned earlier. It's not a superficial thing to say.
I don't think it's like an ego or whatever. The thing is, like, I don't think he trusts himself in this position, and he's kind of like mentioned it before as well. His discomfort playing in this role, and it's like you just don't see the movements. When you don't see the movements, the player is not comfortable. So, like, it's just an issue where he needs to get either more comfortable with it, or maybe slightly play in a different position. But
a guy who has so much more experience than Vinicius, who basically had to learn to ply the trade down the middle last season. Soon as he moved to the middle, you saw the shot he unleashed and the goal he scored. Right?
See, the thing is, like, Mbappe, I don't know, like, does he have more experience? Like, he doesn't have that much experience playing centrally, whereas Vinicius last season was completely like, he's playing more central. Mbappe,
experience at the top level, I meant. I didn't really.
Yeah, so okay, that's a very good point. But the thing is, like, Vinicius has had better quality of experience, better quality of chance of growing. He's played in La Liga all his career, whereas Mbappe, like, for us, like I said, he's played in Liga. Like, no disrespect to Liga, but there is a certain level that you reach where if you want to go to the next level, you have to move. And I think sadly for Mbappe, he should have moved faster. If he had moved faster, probably he would have been. He would have had a much better development, but let's see what happens. Like, the thing is, like, for all the criticism that we're giving Mbappe, he's still a damn good player. We saw what happened, the goal that he scored when he got that pass from Mbappe. He kind of shifted his weight and boom, that was in. You don't really expect that from anyone else in the team. So for me, the question is,
you don't expect that from Vinicius, Mo?
That movement. Do you expect that?
How
movement
many times
from Kylian?
have
We're talking about
Vinicius?
Sociedad, right?
He's like Vinicius has shifts. Vinicius can dribble, and Vinicius has flair. But that's different to what Kylian brings. Earlier on the podcast we were talking, and you guys kind of mentioned that Kylian is like probably the best finisher that we have. That's why you guys said, not me, right? So the thing is, like, let Kylian grow.
He's a better finisher than Vinny, for sure.
But once he reaches that element, we are going to see what he can bring. And I mean, I don't want to say anything about bad about Vinny, because like, Vinicius, for me personally, like, for so far this season, I think this is Vinicius' team, right? He's the best player that we have currently. But once Kylian gets comfortable, once he reaches that level that we know he can reach, I think he's probably going to be the best player on the team.
Right.
Okay. Before we make the post-match Villarreal about Mbappe and Vinicius entirely. Moving on.
No, we have to talk about the attacking situation side. This is not us making. We are not making clickbait content here. Like, we are actually talking about what that needs to be talked about. But before we go further and get into the comments more, I think it's a perfect time to play the ad read. Pick up Doris, pick up Manscaped.
Sure, definitely.
Hola Madridistas, I'm back once again to remind you, if you're ever looking for a way to support us, please do so and go to manscaped.com, use our code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping. That's code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping. Check out these thick silicone bristles. They are 100% antibacterial, no more germs hiding on your head. The bristles gently exfoliate your scalp, and the product helps reduce flaking caused by dry skin and buildup. One of the coolest features is that it helps stimulate blood flow to your hair follicles, and increased blood flow equals healthier hair, and trust me, I know I have a lot of it. Bristles also enhance shampoo penetration for more foam and less product. And with that, you can also pair the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner from Manscaped for the ultimate hair care routine. And this is a pretty big, sizable thing. And let's not forget the relaxing massage that it provides after a long day. Using this feels like a mini spa treatment. It's a great way to unwind while taking good care of your scalp. So yeah, go to manscaped.com, use our code LBR20 at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. That's code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping.
Alright guys, I think we're back. Sunil
Pick
disappeared.
up Doris. Or did it disappear? Hello?
Yeah, Sunil, you've disappeared. I know you don't want to show your face to Mbappe, but you don't have to do this. You can show it to us.
Am I here? Am I here?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
here,
right.
right?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, big up Manscaped, big up Doris. Go check out Manscaped for 20% off and free shipping with the code LBR20. Apologies to the people who were kind of, looking forward to Doris's watch along. She had an unforeseen emergency at work, so, she had to kind of, handle that. She'll be back hopefully, after the international break. So, yeah, apologies. It was a last minute thing. Right. Let me get to a few other comments quickly. Right. Big up Ashik was mentioning not a scintillating display. Let's take the 3 points anyway and watch Alaves fold against Barca tomorrow, as all La Liga teams do. High intensity against Madrid, fold like a sheet of paper against Barcelona. I would attribute that to Barcelona's relentlessness, especially in the league. They really put it up against mid-table sides, which unfortunately or fortunately for them, we don't. Big up Farooq. He says, get Manscaped to get shiny just like Mo. There you go.
I mean, as much as I try, I cannot reach Farouk's level. So
That's a huge compliment. Take it and run, Mo. Yeah. Big up Farooq. He says another victory, another loss. Just can't seem to enjoy anything these days. 100% Farooq. Our biggest detractors would have never, seen this coming. Basically us being on the same page. For the large part of this year and last season, yeah, it doesn't really bode well, does it? Big up Ifti, he was mentioning thoughts and prayers for Carvajal's well-being. Yeah, we didn't talk much about it because I didn't really want to spoil my mood any further. It looked horrible. Our medical expert here would give us a bit more insight, more from.
Sounded horrible. His scream.
Yeah. And the pictures doesn't look great.
Yeah, for me, it kind of looks like he hyperextended his knee, so it's probably like, I think his ligaments are done. It's a matter of like how many. So I think like for me, from the looks of it,
Season is over.
There's either two things. Yeah, sometimes what happens, like it kind of looks horrible in pictures and you kind of feel a lot of pain, but the injury isn't as much. You just get away with a strain or a sprain or something like that. But reading from the reports, it kind of feels like it's probably done. So like you said, it is very likely that his season is over, but let's hope for the best.
And more, like, I've had an ACL injury. I've had a couple of ACL injuries, both right and left leg recently. So what I got to know was that when it hyperextends like that, the knee, the ACL takes the MCL and the PCL with it, right? And then that makes it really like worse on another level.
Yeah, so the thing is like ACL doesn't often get injured by itself. Like the supporting structures, like the structures around it, also get injured a lot of time. So it's just not like it's not just about the MCL and or other collateral ligaments. There's sometimes your meniscus can also get injured. I think that is what happened with Asensio. So when he got injured, he had an injury in his ACL in one of the collaterals and in the meniscus. So it's kind of like these injuries often happen together. So it only prolongs the recovery time. And I think with David Laba as well, I think he had some of the surrounding structures get injured as well. So his recovery has been delayed. So I don't know with Carvajal what's going to happen. Let's wait and see. Well, let's hope for the best.
For me, we absolutely need a right back, in Jan. I don't think there is
I saw
to hide.
I saw your comment on the group chat where you're talking about that, but like the thing is, you're not going to get value in the January market. So I don't think we're going to get anyone in January.
if we need, at least a placeholder to see out the season.
The thing is, like, Real Madrid doesn't do placeholders, right?
I know, but it's seriously putting our chances at going deep into the Champions League with that kind of stubbornness, in my opinion, in such a crucial position.
The only time I can see Real Madrid even considering is if Lucas Vazquez also get injured. If he's fit and fine, I don't think they will.
Can we expect Lucas Vazquez to stay fit for the entirety of 7 months?
Bro, you say that, but like 21, what was it, like 2021, where Lucas Vazquez was the only right back that we had. So
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so
I think
the
thing is we don't have Nacho anymore to fill in anywhere we want, basically.
Yeah, that's definitely a point, but I can't see us signing a right back. Like, I mean, just you guys need to like consider, like, even if we go in the market, who are we gonna get in January?
Mm.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody.
So that's the point. Yeah, it's like you're not gonna get value, and the way Real Madrid have operated recently, it's like if they don't see value in the market, they're not gonna sign. They're gonna expect Ancelotti to make do with whatever we have. So, that's probably what's going to happen. Either Lucas Vazquez will sign or somebody from the midfield.
Get Fede to play right back.
Somebody from the midfield gets pulled back and ask them to play right back. That's what's going to happen. I definitely don't see us going into the market. Unless something catastrophic happens and, Real Madrid are like losing. So.
Yeah. An emergency signing obviously feels out of possibility.
I mean, what do you mean by emergency? Do you mean like in January? Or
like a Chesney level signing, bro. Bringing somebody out of retirement. Ramos is still on the market, but he's not a right back. That's one thing.
Who?
Militao can play right back.
No, you said he's not. He's like, you were mentioning someone.
Ramos is still on the market, but he's not obviously right back. He's played right back early in his career.
Yeah, I think Ramos, the thing is, like, I would have expected them to sign him, like, with the CB issues that we are having. But I don't know. It's like, I think Florentino and his age, like his brother.
Yeah, that bridge basically is beyond. But Alex Jimenez at Milan, is he a left back?
He's a right back.
Can he play both?
He's right back.
He's right back, right?
Yeah.
Right. But he's still on. Like we actually sold him, right?
Yeah,
it's not a loan.
No,
we sold him.
Yeah, there's like a buyback after 2 years or something.
Mm.
There's like the guy who's currently playing at Castilla, like David Jimenez, and he was pretty good like 2 years, like when he was in like in the juvenile system. I haven't like watched him play recently much, but he's at least better. I think he's better than what we had with Sergio Santos. So even if
let go of Vinicius Tobias,
Vinicius Tobias was garbage.
Yeah. He was bad. He had a good half season, I think, last year or the year before. But
I think he was kind of forced into Castilla, and Raul had to play him a lot, and kind of like angry because I always rated Alex Jimenez much higher, and I think if he had Alex Jimenez today, he would have played. But David Jimenez, Alex Jimenez, I don't really see much of a difference. I think both of them are like good players, and I think David Jimenez is a good crosser of the ball, at least when he was playing at Juvenile. I haven't watched much of him recently, so I don't really know. So, but yeah, I think he could come in and probably do a job if needed. But having said that, the first job is going to be Lucas Vazquez, second choice is probably going to be Militao, third choice probably going to be Sonet, and fourth choice definitely not me. Then maybe they bring in David Jimenez.
I've experienced it playing left back. Probably I can do a job. But yeah, man. Big up Archie was mentioning losing Danny.
I was gonna say Sonet, you were gonna be our centre back, so.
No, I'm not that positionally, adept. Like I would like to bomb forward a bit, but that's just me. I just like being on the front foot, unlike my manager. Big up Farooq was mentioning. What am I hearing?
For no reason now.
No. Like I expect a lot more from Don Carlo. He needs to fix this. Farooq was mentioning. What am I hearing? So then I'm hearing you, bro. This is music to my ears. You are finally seeing the light. Results are not the only thing that matters. Yeah. Right. Farooq was mentioning Militao was right back and Tchouaméni as centre back. Ashik was mentioning if the team consistently keeps winning this way, then at least I know I don't have to watch the game. I can use the 2 hours to do something productive. There you go. That's
we can record. I mean, hypothetically, obviously, we can record the post-match during the match.
Yeah. Like I'll be honest, like there were a couple of moments where I was close to falling asleep, especially in the first half. It's so fucking slow. the game, like not necessarily literally, because we had a bit more pace, like we discussed, especially in midfield. But yeah, what
There's
we
like
are seeing on the pitch is very uninspiring.
there is no creativity, especially after the once the second half began. You kind of see like the both teams were kind of like they weren't interested in anything. So
Yeah.
even when the second goal happened from Vinicius, like kind of out of the blue, I wasn't really expecting anything to happen. I was like, maybe somebody brings on some subs and they kind of inject some pace into it, especially from the Villarreal side, because I wasn't really expecting anything from the subs either. But like that goal from Vinicius, like kind of solidified the results for us. But apart from that, like the second half was kind of dar, pretty sad watch.
What is happening to Golar though? I mean, he had a couple of mid performances. Not exactly mid, slightly above average, but still, it left
I don't
a lot to be desired.
He gets thrown on in games where we have to defend the lead, and he doesn't get on the ball enough for me. That's just what I think.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of saw that. But for me, what I've read, I think it was an article in Relevo yesterday, and
Down to his defensive.
Yeah, that's what they said. I don't know. For me personally, it kind of makes sense because Ancelotti, froze out Miguel because of he said he's not good defensively, and look where we are, where we are right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not giving Golar chances because he's not satisfied with his defensive performances. The thing is, like with Ancelotti, he's done so well, so you kind of have to give him a lot of credit. But for me personally, I think Golar should be playing a lot more, and he should be more. Whenever he plays, he needs to be a little bit more. More of a focal point in the attack instead of somebody who is playing in an ancillary role. So
it doesn't take like a tactical to see that he doesn't really give you the sort of defensive output that say Rodrigo gives.
I mean, it would be a very calculated move from a guy who has nurtured a lot of young talents over the years.
Definitely,
Probably this might be the wake up call Golar needs to add another dimension to his game. Which, let's be honest, if he improves his defensive IQ, he can really help out. Especially as an 8.
I think
really.
Indeed,
If the role that they were talking about how he was going to be successor to Modric is like on offer, then he definitely has to improve his defensive position, his defensive work rate, everything. So there's a new skill that he has to learn almost. So given how much success I think Ancelotti have with Tchouaméni and developing his defensive side, I kind of hope he does that. But then on the opposite end, I think if you kind of push him into that role and try to shoehorn him there, his offensive talents are not going to develop. And have whatever we think of Golar, like his offensive ceiling is pretty high. So I don't really want that to suffer.
Luka Modric was a cam starting out, right?
No, I think Tottenham were kind of playing him in left
out wide as well sometimes.
But Luka Modric has always done well when he's playing as a central midfielder in a deeper role. Even for Spurs, when he was pretty brilliant, he was playing a little bit deeper.
But I'm just telling you, all these guys, they were very versatile. So I think, despite us having doubts about if he would really get to polish some of his attributes if we shoehorn him, I think it's just a matter of staking a claim in a side that has too much quality. Once he starts getting consistent minutes, I think if he's that good enough, the pieces around him will be moved to accommodate Golar. That's what happens with most good players in good sides, in my opinion. But let's see how it pans out.
But that is still a long time into the future.
100%. Right, Milan, bigger Milan. He was mentioning Mbappe doesn't link up. He plays 1-2s that work in poor leagues, like Liga or the Dutch league. Put some respect to Eric Davis here, man. Come on. He needs to just make runs only at this point. He actually makes the attack slower. Plus, he is Lukaku. He has a Lukaku-esque touch. Bang on. Playboy was mentioning Mbappe needs to improve his first touch and stop doing those fancy passes. But Milan was also mentioning, and Mbappe isn't actually better than Vinny or Rodrigo. He's just a better finisher than both. I'm of that opinion, unfortunately, at least for now. As a footballer, he's not close. He's a world-class version of Rashford, technically speaking. I think Milan has mentioned this before.
I think Milan kind of likes Rashford a lot because I remember last season he was kind of
Rashford,
comparing.
Lukaku.
He was saying that Rodrigo is like a Brazilian Rashford. Like now Mbappe is a French Rashford. Tomorrow he's gonna say Soner is a Canadian Rashford. So I don't know.
You have to relax, yeah. Like I can't be compared to that waste man. Big up young Faro. He was mentioning Mbappe should actually run left wing, and Vinny should be the one who should be central forward with Rodrigo on the right wing and rotate every so often. That is a good plan, but then again, when Vinicius would like to drift left, Mbappe isn't going to be keen to drift center. We have seen that so many times. He just doesn't
Nah,
fancy.
Mbappe kind of loves coming from out wide into central area so that he can score goals. So it could work, but I don't think Vinicius is gonna give you if you kind of put him in centrally. I think Vinicius' game is gonna suffer.
Even today, I think I don't remember what minute it was or what half it was, but when Mbappe basically, I think it was a lucky ricochet of the central defender. Basically, Mbappe gets to run in behind, and he gets to kind of take on three men, and then he lays the ball to Vinicius. What a guy with Mbappe's abilities would do is basically take up a better position. Just don't stick to him so close that he's just 5 yards apart. Probably he just puts himself in a position where he can open his body and bend one in, or at least make a darting run into the box. Maybe just as a bluff, right? It might not come to any fruition because you're being barricaded by four men, basically waiting to kind of eat you up. But still, again, at least create a distraction, man. Like Mbappe doesn't even put the bare minimum effort to make anything happen off the ball. That's my biggest concern with him. Anyway,
see that's kind of the point I was making. For me, it's like his movement isn't there, and his movement isn't there because he isn't sure of himself in that position. That's what I think, and so that's why he's struggling. And I think until he grows into that role, it's gonna be there, or maybe Ancelotti has to figure some place else for him.
Fair.
Madrid TV, bigger Madrid TV every single time, man. I hope you're well. He was mentioning Mbappe was just finding his form before he got injured. Now he needs time again to build his confidence. Yeah, he looks like he's come. His confidence is completely shot. Like I can't really look past it. That's a big issue as well. Big up Ricardo was mentioning the match was meh. The passing is still timid. No intent or directness. The team is neither hot nor cold. The match against Barcelona has me worried because you don't know what to expect from us, and we are at home as well. We better put on a show and better get a result, because even if you notice it, towards the first 20-30 minutes, I think until the first goal, the crowd was very uncertain of what this team is going to do. Like, I don't want to head into a match day and really be left wondering, what version of this side are we going to get? Like that's rock bottom. That's basically rock bottom for a team of our standard.
And when you ask for unpredictability, that's not what we're asking for.
But yeah, they're completely getting the wrong memo, right? Young Faro was mentioning Kama back defensive back to cover Danny. Oh, being thrusted in at right back? Come on, man, give this guy a break.
Left-footed.
He's going to be wasted at right back. Ricardo was mentioning, although most of our midfield lull isn't on Tchouaméni, Kamavinga brings an energy that he doesn't. Yeah, facts. Hopefully both can stay fit. They'll be crucial. Also, old man Modric played okay. I like Modric man this season. I'm going to defend him. Right. Ashik was mentioning our attack is toothless, that we don't need a plan. We need a dentist. We need Jesus. Is that what Ashik is implying? Young Faro was mentioning Endrick, the new R9. Yeah, huge praise. Sahil is a huge fan. I'm a huge fan as well, but I just hope it works out better for him. There's a long way to go. Like Marcus, he was mentioning Valverde or Militao can manage to play at the right back for now. Valverde, I think, really can do a job, but we're going to miss a lot of what he does, right in the middle, basically. Ashi was mentioning there's a high chance of Fran playing right back than us signing one in Jan.
No, not a high chance.
I don't think Fran is gonna play
Probably
right back.
The pecking order right now is Vasquez, then Militao, then Valverde, and then Fran.
I would kind of think it's probably obviously Lucas is first, and then Militao probably, and Valverde. But then I think among the left backs probably going to be Mendy, who plays right back first, and then drop Kamavinga into left back.
We've done that once, I think. Before.
Yeah, and I think Mendy has also played right back for France. So.
Mendy has played right back for us when?
No,
One game.
Like Mendy kind of played there, but for France he's played a couple of games at right back.
I know he's
one game. It was a one-off game 2 seasons ago, I think.
Similar
sort of situation.
I know he's pretty good at both feet, but
no, he's not pretty good at both feet. He dribbles with his left, he shoots with his right. So that's why they kind of like try and play him out there.
Okay, but I see him play decent because when some of his peers, struggle to take touches with their other foot, I think Mendy does a pretty damn good job of actually balancing it out. Maybe you're right. I haven't seen enough of him playing right back, to be honest, but yeah. G. Hassan, big up yourself. He was mentioning any possibility for Kamavinga to play as right back. I don't think so. When he's left-footed, it's gonna be a chore for him to play right back.
Yeah, especially with how important he feels in midfield right now.
Yeah. He is basically the fire we need down the middle. Young Faro was mentioning Kama has played left back before and has done well. He wasn't happy, but oh well.
As left back.
Yeah, 22-23. Yeah, played brilliant. I think locked up Rafinha. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Lunin, decent. Had a couple of good clearances. Was happy with them. Didn't have much to do. Rudiger, as always, again, towering performance. Tchouaméni, better than what we have seen him in midfield. Fede,
Tchouaméni, we kind of have to point out that one moment where he almost gave a penalty, like he was kind of saved by the offside thing.
Offside flag, yeah.
It's like that positioning was horrible. That shouldn't be happening.
Why did he take him inside? Like I don't get it.
I don't really understand what he was doing there. Like he kind of let the player get wrong side of him, and then the player was on, and Tchouaméni, he was left kind of hoping that he doesn't score.
Yeah.
We see the same situation in midfield as well, but then again, that's not where the goalpost is in. So it doesn't take up as much of our attention. But the same thing happens in the box today.
I guess our synergy from our first phase to the second phase is better, but what needs to improve, like we all agree, is from the second phase to the third, where there needs to be a lot more emphasis, from the backroom staff to build some sort of synergy. Like I've been using this term synergy for God knows how long this season. It's getting beyond.
Let's look up synonyms.
Yeah, we should. Sorry, 100%. Be my guest, but we should completely, hope and pray that by the time the Clásico rolls on, in a couple of weeks' time, that we find some sort of cohesion. Otherwise, it's looking peak, man. Especially with people falling like flies in our side, we have to really hope and pray this season becomes something close to what we have achieved over the past 3 seasons. Like otherwise, it's going to be a huge indictment on guys like Mbappe, and guys like Kamavinga and Tchouaméni, because they'll be called out, claiming that like Cruz carried this midfield. Without him, you can't do anything. So this is their chance to prove once more that they can basically aid this revolution themselves. But yeah, closing thoughts quickly, Mo. If time allows, I know we are running it a bit late, but
for me personally, I think on the ball progression front, we kind of did better, but we have to improve, like you said. I'm going to steal your word and say synergy has to improve in the final third. There has to be much better. We need a lot more creativity in the final third, so better chances can be created. But apart from that, I was kind of like satisfied with how we played defensively. The biggest worry, obviously, is like with Carvajal gone, what's going to happen this season? Like moving on from here. But apart from that, let's hope for the best. That's all we can do as Real Madrid fans.
Sahil.
Yeah, continuing where he left off, I think it's a pretty big disappointment that we've gotten an injury right when we didn't, long-term injury at that. And the issue is that we're looking at Vázquez starting possibly for 6 to 7 months if it's as bad as it could be. But overall, it's a positive result, so you can't actually complain as much as we did, in midweek. But overall, yeah, just the performance leaves a lot to be desired. There wasn't again enough cutting edge in the final third. The structure and the shape of the team overall looked better because the midfield was balanced today. With Kamavinga coming in and just allowed the others to play sort of their natural game, but it's still unrecognizable in the sense that we expect Real Madrid to play this electric, dazzling, and like unpredictable sort of football, right? So that is there. Unfortunately for us, now we go into an international break where for 2 weeks now we don't have to watch this shit show again. So yeah, I mean, there's always hope that on the other end of the international break, things change and the intensity is there.
Dortmund, Milan, and Clasico when we come back.
Yeah, the big games is where Real Madrid thrives. So overall, I want Carlo to paint a better picture of what this team could look like on the other side of this international break.
On the positive side, if we can cover for Vasquez's defensive deficiencies, Champions League Golden Boot loading, this man can score a few very crucial goals, I believe.
Guys, I just wanted to pitch in about Carvajal thing, like one more thing. We're not only losing a right back over here, we're also losing an option for centre back because, whenever somebody goes off, like he was kind of on Carvajal to centre back as well. So we kind of losing players for two positions. So it's kind of serious. And then I think one thing we've kind of not talked about is like because in the seriousness of Carvajal's issue, we kind of got lost. But Vinicius also walked off with an injury, so we have to kind of see like what his situation is always going to be.
That looks more like an impact thing to the shoulder.
We already have like two players with shoulder dislocations, in Brahim and Jude.
Jude.
Yeah, so I just hope like Vinicius doesn't end up being the third.
And Carvajal, we have to also remember that he was a huge outlet down the right. When in doubt, switch to Carvajal was our go-to plan over the last, 2-3 seasons. So we need to be switched on to see the season out, man. I hope our players are ready for what's to come. It's going to be a tough few months for all of us. But yeah, man, big up every single one of you in the chat. Let me check if there's any last minute comments that needs attention quickly. Big up our partners, Manscaped and Fanatics. Go check them out. LBI20 to get 20% off and use the link in the description below for Fanatics. Yeah, man, big up our audio partners. Audio listeners who, have been a backbone for us over the years. And, I would like to, again, thank you guys for sending us, positive feedback, negative feedback, what makes this pod what it is, because, we have a two-way conversation. And when it is, just stuck to football and, when things doesn't get personal regarding some of our views, we get to have a very healthy conversation, which, both sides enjoy. And yeah, man, thank you for us. Thank you for, accompanying us on this journey. It's been 3.5 years, pretty glorious years, I'll be honest. Also, go check out our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Community. They're on a brilliant Real Madrid fan page. Go show them some love. But yeah, people, we'll see you hopefully in 10 days' time. So until next time, Hello Madrid.
Hello Madrid.
Hello Madrid.